cannot tell you that I'm going to stay if I'm not feeling the love that I need to feel. But just like you decide to choose yourself and what you feel like you need and what you want, I have to do that too. I cannot continue to just serve you.
Just a suggestion to the producers of the Ultimatum. Maybe if you're having a high risk show like this, maybe get the people to sign a contract to say they cannot leave the experiment. Maybe, how about that? Or maybe have people on standby to replace them once they leave the experiment, because a reputation of the same conversations with different couples doesn't make sense, and it becomes annoying and becomes very monotonous. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing The Ultimatum, Season 3, Episode 8. I'm a bit confused because the last time we were in a scene whereby we had, Nick storm off because he was upset at the fact that Sandy had revealed that not only has she kissed Jay at the time she told him she had kissed him, she also kissed him another time. So to go from that to suddenly coming to a situation whereby you have Sandy moaning bitterly to Nick that she doesn't like the way he treated her. She feels like, he's not treating her the way you treat someone you love, and he's not being fair to her, and so she feels some type of way. And it's like, how did we get here? How did we get here? Because the last time we were watching, the two of you were arguing about the kiss. So how did we jump from the kiss to suddenly we're arguing about his behavior towards you? I don't get it. I know I saw a clip online that Vanessa did in regards how she felt about the whole sort of Nick situation. I'm not going to comment on that because it's quite controversial, and I don't feel I'm the best person to say anything on that, given this fact that there's allegations of substance abuse. So I'm not going to say that because I don't know how genuine that is. So I'm still confused as to how we got to this conversation. We have Zaina and Jay having a conversation while they're preparing their evening meal, and she's sort of saying she wants to get deeper. These people have been dating for 3 years. What have they been discussing? Did it take them coming to the show for him to open up and talk about how he grew up, how he was homeless, how he was, peer pressured, how he was bullied at school because of the fact that he was one of 7? This is stuff they should have discussed before they came to the show. If they hadn't discussed this, then there's no need to come to the show. Maybe it's time to break up. I don't get it. Because why are we discussing this now? And why are we asking him, when did you realize you were in love with me? Over 3 years, we haven't had this conversation. What have we been discussing? What have we been discussing? It looks like they've come up with a plan of how they're going to revamp his character because they know the things that he said that might get him in trouble. Because otherwise, there's no justification and there's no rationalization to the conversation they're having now, because one would have expected them to have discussed this way before, they came on the show. One would have expected all her concerns to have been addressed outside of the fact that she wants to be married. She tells him that, I don't want to continue to be a professional girlfriend. I really want to be a wifey, and I want to know that if I'm in a relationship with you, our relationship is going somewhere. And it's like, yeah, that's acceptable. That is acceptable. But some of these conversations you're having now should have been had before you came onto the show, as far as I'm concerned. Oh my God. I think if Ari's brother is watching this, he's punching the air. He's punching the air because the audacity of this man to bring this girl on this show saying he wants to marry her and then treat her like the scum of the earth doesn't make sense to me. I really don't understand Scotty. If you look up gaslighter, next to it, you'll find Scotty's face. As far as I'm concerned, you'll find Scotty's face and you'll find him grinning. The audacity to complain that, he's not getting enough physical touch. People have different sort of love languages. Just because that's not her love language, you can't judge her for that, and you can't make her feel bad and continue to criticize her and tell her that if I'm not getting the thing that I want from you, then I'm not going to marry you. Well, buddy, the door's open. Make your way out. Find your way to wherever you'll get the physical touch that you want. Because if you marry me today and I'm giving you something, what happens when we're married and I can't give you that thing? Are you going to divorce me then? That's the question. Are you going to divorce me? So if I'm physical touchy and stuff, and then we get married, I become pregnant and I don't feel like having someone close to me, are you going to divorce me because of that? And for him to sit there with a straight face while she's crying, oh my God, my blood was boiling. I understand. now why someone wouldn't want to be with him. And I understand why her brother would have reservations about him. Because at the end of the day, we were all wondering, or I was wondering, why is she not saying yes to this man? And the longer he stays on my screen, the more reasons I get to say, well, she shouldn't marry him. Even if he was the last guy on earth, she doesn't need that. Nobody needs to be in a relationship who treats them like dirt, like the scum of the earth. She really doesn't. And so good luck to him, and I hope he finds someone who's able to put up with his nonsense. And I'm happy that she walked out on him, because she really deserved to. And then you have Mariah and Caleb. Mariah and Caleb, for me, oh my God, these people, you have these people who are gaslighters and manipulators apply to the show, saying that they want to get married, but their partner is refusing. And then they come on international TV and show their asses and show who they really are and why their partners don't want to get married to them. So for Mariah to be crying and saying, I needed you to come and give me a hug, I need this. And it's like, he also has his needs. You've been accusing this man of not wanting, to get married to you. You've been accusing this man of having done something inappropriate with, his trial partner. And now you're saying he's loyal, he's patient, he's kind, he's this, that, and the other. And sadly, he's been saddled with someone like you. So what? You're trying to get him to feel sorry for you. Is that it? Make it make sense, because it's not. So you have Nick and Sandy meet up with her mom and her sister, I would assume. I think so. I think it said sister. And oh my God, they are really smitten. They're really smitten. They really love, it seems, JR, because they sit down with Nick, are having conversations with Nick, and they sort of find out about his breakdown, when he found out she was with Nick, and they had sort of kissed, and he said he struggled with that. And he sort of says Sandy had a cake and she ate it. And I get where he's coming from, in the sense that Sandy was able to experience this, she had this opportunity to experience living with somebody totally different, and she did that. But then while she did that, he didn't have the experience to live with somebody else. So he struggled because he was alone. And so he was cheated out of an experience. And I know Vanessa's put out a statement. It's there on TikTok. I think I saw it. Did I see it on TikTok? I think so. If anyone wants to check it out, I'm not going to sort of add any fuel to the flame, because she's made some allegations that I am not, as an HCP, comfortable making, because I know how that can affect someone unless I know them to be true. So when he left to go to the bathroom, you had Sandy's mom sort of talk about JR and the experience with JR. And it's like, he really made an impression on her. And it sounds like mom would prefer that Sandy live with JR than she live with, with Nick. And it's like, when Nick watches this, he's going to feel some type of way. He really is going to feel some type of way, because the mom is saying it seems like JR balanced her out, and her experience with Nick seems like it sort of shakes her. She's always frazzled. She's all over the place. And so it's like, but your daughter's been dating this man for 2 years. Why have you not said anything? Why have you waited until she came to the show to say something? Is it because you were waiting to see her with somebody else? Or is it just because you have been trying to sort of stay out of their business? Which is it? Make it make sense. That part I didn't understand. You have Zaina and JR having a conversation. She bought him a gift. So she gives him a gift of a grill set stuff, because she says, it's from the Eagles and that's his favorite team. And it's like, maybe she got the producers to get it for her. Because, this is something she wanted to do for him. He seemed really impressed, and he was saying she's his good luck charm. Every time he's with her, his team never loses. And so she says, maybe you might want to marry me and have, lifetime wins. And it's like, that shouldn't be the reason. I think they're trying a bit too hard. I really think they're trying a bit too hard. And I think something about them as a couple is not genuine. I have a feeling that they were a couple that dated and broke off, or they were people that dated and weren't serious about one another and decided to come onto the show for the clout. And this is why they're here, because otherwise their connection and their communication don't make sense. Somebody needs to have a word with producers, because we're tired of them rehashing the same points for forever. You have Mariah and Caleb go on this fishing date, and they seem to be in a better space than they were when we saw their CCTV footage. They seem to have overcome the argument they had and the misunderstandings. So they're just saying that they're at this point where they're in this spiritual journey, whereby they're trying to sort of learn about themselves and what they need to change or what they need to improve. And for me, I think they're just talking to be heard. I don't think they're talking because they have any points to bring across, because there is nothing new there. We all knew that, spending time alone allowed, Mariah to sort of learn more about herself, to reflect on herself. And this is why I was constantly saying, I wish Micah had stayed, because she needed to hear a different point of view that is not her current partner. She needed to hear things that are her blind spots. And so the idea that she's learned more about herself, she's learned from who? Who has given her the feedback for her to feel like she's grown? Mariah, has been through a lot of trauma, in my opinion, and needs to go to therapy. Caleb, I think, is her enabler. He will do and say anything that will make her happy, and I don't think he's been brutally honest with her. And one would wish she would have someone who would do that, but then at the same time, you don't want her to be saddled with someone like Scotty, because Scotty, in my opinion, I think is a manipulator and a gaslighter. Talking about Scotty and Ari, they are having a conversation, and Ari sort of brings up that, he went out shopping and he should have brought something for her, but he didn't bring it. He didn't think of her. And I think this stems from her time with Caleb, because she said Caleb was very thoughtful. One time she needed something or tea, and he didn't know which brand she liked, so he brought 3 different brands. And so I think going from that to suddenly having Scotty, who doesn't even appear to even recognize that she's not there or think about what she might want if she were there, I think this is why it was such a hard pill for her to swallow. And the audacity for him to say to her that, oh, well, at times I think you're judging me against the men that have been in your life, and you're sort of waiting for me to make a mistake so that when I fall, you say, oh, look. And it's like, you are really a gaslighter. I don't know who taught you whatever you do. And I hope when she sits down and sort of looks back at this relationship, Ari is able to realize that this man is not it for her. He really is not it. She deserves better, and she needs better. She needs someone who's able to empathize. She needs someone who's compassionate, understanding, caring, and is able to prioritize her. This man is not doing it for her. He is so full of himself and full of wanting to hear himself speak that I don't think he's the best person for her. I don't know whether this episode is a filler because they don't have enough couples, or what exactly is going on, because we keep having a reputation of the same conversation. We have Zaina and Jaya go to this dinner date, and they're busy talking about, the good qualities that Jaya has. And it's like, I don't get it. Why are we trying to hype up Jaya and Sandy as though they are the role models for wanting to get married? Yes, you issued the ultimatum. That doesn't mean you need to beg someone to marry you. No, I don't get why she needed to sort of compliment him and the qualities that he has and how much growth he's had, and appreciate the fact that he agreed to come into the experiment. And she says Sandy was the right person for you, and it's like, why? What makes you believe Sandy was the right person for him? Yes, he agreed that she challenged him. The little smile that he had when he was talking about Sandy tells me that he fell in love with Sandy. And I'm going to stick to that. I feel like Jaya fell in love with Sandy. I feel like Jaya was sort of saying to his partner that if you don't sort of try and repair my damaged image, then I'm going to leave, because there's no justification as to why she continues to praise him. Oh, she brought out the best in you. She was the best person for you. There was no one else who would have been able to sort of help you grow and learn more about yourself. And it's like, nah. She helped him grow in the bedroom. That I can believe she did. Apparently, there were no cameras or microphones in the bedroom. So whatever happened in their bedroom, only the two of them know. Only the two of them know, because we definitely saw what they did in public. So if that's what they did in public, I can only imagine what they did in private. You have Sandy sit down for a conversation with Nick, and she's talking about the fact that she's agreed to come to the beach, even though she's not a fan of the beach. She doesn't like the water, but because she loves him, she's really come so that he can enjoy himself. And it's like, he's not a little kid. He really is not. There's no need for you to make it out like he's a little kid and you're doing him a favor by agreeing to go on a date somewhere that you cannot tolerate to go to. And so I wish the producers would stop this nonsense of repeating a storyline or repeating a point 200 times, because we only need to see it once to believe it. I understand this experiment starts off with 6 couples. I think Netflix needs to always have couples on standby in case the couples that go in pull out. That way they can have people to swap around, because we are getting the same conversation time and time and time again, but just a different couple. So you have Ari and Scotty having a conversation in bed. And with cameras, I don't remember which which town this was filmed in, but it seems they don't allow cameras in the bedroom because you can actually see the cameras as though they're sort of filming from the doorway. Anyway, they're in their bedroom, they're having a conversation about their growth as a couple and where they are. And for me, I don't even know why she even entertains going further with this conversation, because every time this man guilts her and tells her, oh, when I was with Zaina, things were amazing. Zaina did this, Zaina did that. Well, why didn't you stay with Zaina? Why did Zaina have to move out? If your relationship or if your couple was that amazing, why did she move out and leave you? Why pretend as though things were amazing when they were not? We all know they were not amazing, because otherwise she wouldn't have moved out. I don't get it, and I don't get why Ari continues to put up with this man. You have Mariah and Caleb. Mariah is saying, oh, once we're engaged. And Caleb is like, nah, that's not a guarantee. There's a possibility that we might not get engaged. This might be our last conversation, because it seems they're packing up because it's time to leave. And it's like, oh, this is going to be messy. This is going to be messy. I don't think she prepared herself for this, because she's saying to him, you know, I thank you for loving me. I thank you for treating me the way you have. And I thank you for always being there. And it's like, well, you didn't need to say all this to this man. And for him to turn around and tell you that he's still a work in progress, he still needs to learn, he still needs to grow, should tell you that maybe it's not the right time, or maybe it's not the man for you. Because if you're really the right person for him, he would be ready to marry you yesterday. So if you're that amazing, and if he is giving you excuse after excuse after excuse, then maybe it's time for you to keep it moving and find your own person. I don't know. I like them as people, but I don't think they're the right person for each other, is what I'm going to say. I don't think they're the right person for each other. I think they still need to do some work, and I think they need to go out and look for their own person. I think Mariah is too delicate. Yes, we know Caleb is a very patient, very loving, caring, compassionate, and understanding person, but I think Mariah is a work in progress who has a lot of work to do before she can be ready for marriage. And she's only 24 years old, so I think she might need to wait. And then you have JR and Zaina. Zaina, I don't know why she's going all out, because this time she brings him a birthday present. So it's balloons, and she says, happy early birthday. I just wanted to do this for you before we leave here, just in case we're not together on your birthday. And it's like, Zaina, you and this man are not fooling anyone. You might be fooling everybody else, but you're not fooling me. Because of the way that they're social distancing. When I say social distancing, what do I mean? I mean, I've barely seen an intimate kiss between the two of them. I've barely seen them do anything that indicates that they're a couple in love and a couple in a relationship. I said it before and I'll say it again. These are two people who wanted to be on TV and brought each other onto a TV show so that they could be famous. And nothing they've done thus far has convinced me that they are really a couple in love and a couple who see a future together. No, nothing they've said, nothing they've done has convinced me otherwise. So I'm not buying that. Whatever they are trying to sell, I don't know what they're trying to sell to us, but I am not buying it. So she gives him the presents. They sit down for a conversation. She says he's an amazing man. And it's like, how many more times can you praise this man before we say it's enough? Why is it the gaslighters are the ones that are being praised, and the people that actually stuck around and put up with a lot are the ones that are not? Make it make sense? One thing the ultimatum has taught me is what a red flag looks like and what a gaslighter looks like. Because you have Ari having a conversation with Scotty on the day of leaving, and she's sort of trying to tell him that she cannot promise him that she's going to say yes or she's going to choose him. And he is now throwing a straw because he's saying, well, I cannot propose if I don't know whether you're going to choose me. And it's like, well, we're at a standstill then. Maybe let's take a breath and think about it, or if not, let's go our separate ways, because there's no reason for her to continue to go through this conversation several times and still not get the answers that they need. Because he's throwing a strop. He's sort of like a kid who's throwing a tantrum just because they haven't been able to get what they wanted. They sit down on the couch and she's still explaining to him that I cannot promise you something if I don't know what I want, which is the truth. They still have until ultimatum day when he proposes or he decides to walk away for her to make a decision. Why does he need to sort of cement her down to a decision? I didn't get that. And I found that very manipulative, in the sense that even when she hugged him, he sort of hugged her with one hand as though he didn't want to, and he had this single tear running down his face. And it's like, this man really knows how to play it up. This this is why he and Zaina couldn't sort of make it work, because Zaina saw through that and called him out. Whereas Ari is more caring and compassionate, so she tries to sort of be more understanding when he's throwing a strop. But it's just, he's playing like a little kid who's throwing his toys out of the pram just because his girlfriend has refused to choose him. And it's like, why should she choose you? She's had the opportunity to experience something different. And if she wants different for herself, who are you to sort of force her to say, no, you still have to choose me because I brought you into this? No, I don't have to choose you. You brought me into this to see if we would work. I am trying to see if we work. If we work, amazing. If we don't work, amazing. I still have myself and I still can keep it stepping. I didn't understand that conversation, and I didn't even understand why Ari even had the patience to deal with that. You have Sandy and sort of Nick having a conversation in bed about how hard they've worked and what they've learned about one another. And it's like, what have you learned? I wish we'd seen you on dates, not just having the same monotonous conversation. I wish we'd seen you sort of doing something that would make us believe that the two of you are right for each other. At the moment, I'm not buying it, and I don't buy the lovey-dovey conversation, even the cuddles in bed. It seems like someone is putting a bit too much effort into it. We then get to ultimatum day. Everybody's preparing to go and meet their partner that they came into the experiment with to decide whether to marry them, go with somebody else, or move on. And you have Sandy and Nick. They're the first couples to go up. And it's like, I think Nick has a problem. I think there's something going on with him that he needs to address first before he can propose to anyone. I think he has a lot of things that he needs to address before he can propose to someone. And so I don't think this is the right time for him. I think if whatever allegations were being made by Vanessa are true, then maybe he needs to go and work on himself. He does need to go and work on himself. And once he's worked on himself, then he can sort of choose if he's ready to get married or not. And surprise, the cliffhanger, we see Sandy meet up with JR and their excitement at seeing one another. It's like, make it make sense. Why are they meeting up? We had the same thing on the ultimatum queer. And so what are we trying to say? Are we trying to say that Sandy might leave with JR, or are we trying to say what? That they just need to say goodbye? How will their partners feel after they propose or don't propose when they hear that this is what happened on the day that you had your proposal? Make it make sense. I didn't get that, and I didn't like it. It left a very bad taste in my mouth, but then maybe that's just me being a bit too extra. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 7. Bye guys.